Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kamara, and guess what? The pods are open. The pods are open. Love is Blind is back with season 8, and they're in Minnesota this time. And I have to say, collectively, everyone seems more mature this season, and that has a lot to do with the age of a lot of the contestants. The ages range between like mid to late 20s all the way to early 40s. So I really like that. Now, with a more mature cast, what comes with that? It may not be as spicy, it may not be as action-packed, it may not have too much drama like the previous season, and we see that through these 6 episodes. A lot of people have called it boring, but it's all in how you take it. In one of the episodes, even Brittany, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she mentioned everyone's nice, there's no cattiness, no mean girl energy, and that's true. She's right about that all the way up until the end when people start getting a little territorial, you know? Apparently, Vanessa Lachey said it's the biggest season ever, and they have, I think, 16 women, 16 men. And let me just say this. Out of the 16 men and 16 women they had, they may be focused on 4 of them, and that's something I had an issue with. All right, so let's jump into it. Episode 1. Daniel is one of the first people we're introduced to, and he finds it on his heart for the first thing to tell people is that he's 5'8" and the struggles that come with being short. So let's get into the dates. First up, Devin and Brittany. They both find out that they have this shared love for basketball in common. She's 34, he's 28. I'm liking the vibes. I feel like, to me it is giving a little friend vibes a little bit, but I'm liking the vibe so far. He also goes on a date with Virginia. She seems really mature. She's a doctor. They find out they went to the same high school and that they're 5 years apart. So far so good. The next date is Joey and Monica. They're both extremely extroverted, bubbly. It seems like they gravitated towards each other by default because they're both that extroverted. Definitely the boring couple of the season. You know, every season has one of those, but there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so we meet Dave. Dave? This man is something else. So he works in medical aesthetics. He makes it a point to say he wants to change the toxic viewpoint of how women should look and challenge himself to view women differently. Yeah. But one of the reasons he stood out in the beginning is because this man went into every date and asked the women, "What's wrong with you? Why are you here?" What? Why are you here? Like, if something's wrong with them, something's wrong with you. And what's even more crazy is he had a date with Lauren. I like Lauren. She's sweet, wholesome. She asks his age. He says, "I'm 32. How old are you?" She goes, "I'm 30. And he says, "Oh, so you're no longer attractive." Be so for real right now. Be so for real. On one of their other dates, he also brings up his relationship with his sister, her not supporting him going on the experiment, and how she thinks no woman will ever be good enough for him. That's a huge red flag because by joining this family, this is who you'll be dealing with forever. You'll deal with his sister forever. There's always going to be tension. People like that will never think anyone's good enough. And there just will always be tension between your wife and your sister. So whoever signs up for that, you're taking a big risk. Still on a Dave wave, his next date is with Molly, who says she's had situationships but never a boyfriend. Interesting. Okay, moving on to our next date, Alex and Madison. Alex mentioned he wasn't attractive when he was younger, he was bullied, and now he's had this glow up. He did say something that I really love though. He said he always makes it a point to look around a room and include those that are not included because he has been left out his whole entire life. So I really resonated with that. I really like that he said that. And then on the other hand, Madison's had a pretty rough childhood. She had to be a parent to her mom. Her mom was on drugs, so she's trying to break generational curses. She is being very, very open. I give her that. Next up is Mason and Madison. He mentioned he's a cinematographer. She mentioned stories about her siblings, how she's honored her brother and Brett Favre and all that. From this point on, I had a weird feeling about Mason. Something seems off about him and I couldn't place it, but he just seems like, I don't know. We'll get back to that later. Mason's also on a date with Meg. She's a free spirit, always mentioning the vibes and the energy in the room. She's that kind of girl. Says she has sober, high thoughts. So that's Meg. I noticed a couple men said that Madison says all the right things. I was like, is this a red flag? It could be, but then I also was like, based on what she's been through, part of it I feel like could be since she wasn't close to her family, she yearns to be liked, she's a people pleaser. I mean, a lot of people struggle with that. So I don't know if that's necessarily a red flag, but definitely something to look out for. Meanwhile, Molly's back in the women's quarter, already telling people Dave is her number one, and she thinks the other connection that he has is with Sarah. Okay, so we're on to episode 2. People are starting to get territorial. Sarah, the oncology nurse, free-spirited, big appreciation for life. She says she doesn't care what her person looks like. She likes dad bods. And this is where the 42-year-old, who I was so excited to see, gets her 5 minutes, and we literally never see her again after this. So yeah. Sarah and Ben have their date talking about whose dad's steak is better. Sarah mentioned her sister's gay and if he would be okay being around her sister. So okay, we find out both Molly and Lauren's number one is Dave. Molly's letting everybody know in the women's quarter. She whispering, Dave's my number one, Dave's my number one, to everybody who'll listen. But Lauren, she's keeping it under wraps, and I like that. Joey and Monica have a dance party. This eventually leads to them getting engaged. Nothing too over the top happened with them. Nothing that really stood out. Devin and Virginia, I'm liking the vibes. I also like the vibes between him and Brittany. I think they just kind of connect on a deeper level than him and Virginia. Brittany, she mentioned she didn't tell her dad she was coming on the show. And her and Devin find out that both their dad's name is Willie, so that's a really funny part too. Okay, so Madison has a date with Alex, and this man he's making it a point to ask her these hard questions, asking her how she is during conflicts, asking her if she yells. So he's clearly definitely dealt with this in the past, and he does not want to deal with it again. And he makes it known to her. I'm not dealing with this. So back to what I was saying about Mason earlier. He seems performative to me. The way he talks to Madison, calling her Mads. The signs just lead me back to you, Mads. Like, it's this voice that he does, and it's weird. In asking, what's the best Halloween costume you've had? It was his way of fishing for a visual of them, trying to gauge what kind of person they were based on if they picked a sexy costume or like more of a goofy. Both Molly and Lauren say, yeah, I had a goofy one and I had a sexy one. He just takes it further, like, oh, so do you normally do sexy? Or like, why are you focused on that? He irritates me. Between Mason and Dave, both of them, I just don't get good vibes from them. So this is where we are right now. Molly and Lauren's number one is Dave. Madison's number one and number two is Alex and Mason. Mason's number one and number two is Meg and Madison. Devin's number one and number two is Virginia and Brittany. So this brings us to our first reveal. Roll episode 3. Episode 3 starts with the reveal with Monica and Joey. Their energy when they were revealed was the most energy I've ever seen. They run to each other. They're so excited. And she said he looked like Tarzan. So that's that. Ben made sure to make it a point to come back to Sarah and let her know, like, look, I don't care, your sister's gay. So that was that conversation. This is where Mason kind of makes it known that he's confused leaving conversations with Meg. Let me tell you something. Nothing good ever comes from someone who's confused or unsure about you. If anybody is confused or unsure about you, you need to wipe your hands of that and go. And let me just point this out. Dave is something else. And the importance of this will come once you get to the 6th episode, because it's like, why would you say this and then things end up like this? This man, Dave, said, Lauren isn't someone I go for. She gives like nerdy teacher vibes. And Molly is the type I go for. She's a dancer. ... That's all you got? How superficial. Like, I cannot with him. There was a date with Dave and Molly where he went on this political rant, and the rant went on for too long, and he just was saying how he could see both sides. And the one little thing that I'll commend him for is when Molly asked him, okay, how would you feel if our kids told you they were LGBTQ? And he was like, I would be a proud parent and I would be happy they had the courage to come to me. He ate that one little part. So Devin's in a date with Virginia, and he's mentioning how he feels like she's holding back. This is a theme. He keeps saying this. When you keep saying something, that is a problem. And I see it too. Virginia is beautiful, but after watching the 6 episodes, I still don't know anything about her. Like, she's very guarded. There was this weird moment, Madison, I feel like she was being a little shady. She mentioned to Mason his other connection, like, only has you, like you're their number one. Like, why are you telling him that? I just didn't understand this, why she was telling him what's going on with his other connection. That's something that the other connection needs to tell him. You know what I mean? Let them tell him that. Meg is just talking too much. The girls telling all her business in the headquarters, just doing too much. Sometimes it's good to keep some things to yourself. All right, episode 4. So this was so funny to me. Ben told Sarah he loved her. My girl Sarah was like, and thank you for that. Anyway, let's get into the deep stuff. Like, I loved it. I loved it because it's like, yeah, get that out of here. She asked him about Black Lives Matter, and he responded, I just keep out of that stuff. I'm not one way or the other. Sarah does not like that. She does not like that. The turning point for Mason, he tells Madison, I'm committed to you. And I think he felt pressured because in an earlier date between him and Madison, she's like, this is basically the time to kick it into high gear. And my other connection, he's applying that pressure. You know, like she didn't have to say it directly, but she was also applying the pressure on him. I think that's what made him say that a little prematurely. Another thing, Meg is so giddy in the dates with Mason, and he's giving her nothing, I feel like. Meg, once again, bursting into the headquarters, saying how well everything went after every single date, just drawing so much attention to herself. I'm like, not again. So Madison and Alex have another conversation, and she said her other connection, which is Mason, is giving her a friend vibe. And then this leads Alex to ask her to be his girlfriend. Okay, cute, very cute. So then Meg catches wind that Madison is gonna end it with Mason, and she is happy. But then she comes to her senses and she's like, wait, well, how am I gonna know that I'm really his first choice if it looks like I'm kind of chosen by default now? There you go, Meg. There you go. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Okay, so we're back to a date with Brittany and Devin, and there was a shift during this date. Devin gets deep, talks about how he's abused painkillers earlier in his life, and then Brittany is like, you know what? I feel you. I feel like we're having this open dialogue, and I want to share something with you too. So she shares with him that she's had past experiences with women, and this clearly bothered him. He immediately got silent, and he started asking her, so was it one or was it? She's like, no, it's been multiple. And he's like, okay, so like, does this mean, okay, at this point in time, are you still interested in women? And she's like, I just think all the women, you know, everyone's beautiful. Everyone's beautiful. That was her telling him, like, you can't just stop being attracted to a sex that you're attracted to. Just kept like asking her these questions, like there's a possibility you could still have interest in women. It's like some people think that it gives you double chances to get cheated on or something, but it's like, as a man, why do you care so much? These are past experiences. And like she said, she told him when she's with you, she's with you. She's not worried about anybody else. She is committed to whoever she is with. She may have interest in both men and women, but that has nothing to do with y'all. So I feel like that just shows his insecurities a little bit. And when you have those types of insecurities, you pair that with somebody like Virginia, who is kind of reserved. I can see that being an issue with him and Virginia. I bring up Virginia because it's raps for him and Brittany. Like he's done with her. So he hops on over to Virginia, he gets the ball rolling with her, and he's like, we haven't gotten deep yet. And she's like, I'm shy, you know, I'll open up slowly. I definitely felt like this was forced a little on his end. I honestly think that if Brittany didn't share what she shared with him, I think he would have picked her maybe. Okay, this is where we're at now. Molly finally puts two and two together that Dave's other connection is Lauren. Then she tells Sarah that Dave's apparently gonna end things with Lauren. And side note, I just wanna say, it's like they get a little desperate at the end of hopes of getting picked. Like, they start making comments about their appearances, etc. Like Madison told Mason her nipples were pierced. Why are you even saying that? Why are you even sharing that information? All right, episode 5, we're almost done. We're almost done. Okay, so Lauren confronts Dave about Molly being his number one. And this girl, she liked Lauren, but she was being way too pushy. It's like she was trying to convince him to pick her. And that's never a good look. And he's like, I don't want to be involved in girl drama. Girl drama? So Molly's back at the house telling everybody Dave's gonna end things with Lauren. Not too long after, who do we see walk through the door? Lauren with the biggest smile on her face. So that's when Madison jumps in and she's like, okay, he's playing y'all. He's playing y'all. This is crazy. So Devin and Brittany have this very mature conversation. She says, of course, she wished he would have reacted differently when she shared the news with him. And he's like, I get that. I get that. And she's like, we're just not each other's person. And that's okay. Because, you know, my person would have not reacted that way. So I'm glad they mutually agreed and ended things in a mature way. So Ben and Sarah get engaged. He promises to educate himself on social issues, etc. We're back to Dave. He's crying and he's having a hard time. And Molly's like, do you have a deeper connection with Lauren? Yes or no? You're trying to get me to do the work here. Do you want to end things with me? This man says, and I quote, I thought that's what I just did. I was done at this point. Horrible communication. Like, what do you mean that's what I just did? You didn't directly say, I'm ending things with you. Oh my gosh, he's so irritating. I love that Miley was so mature about this whole thing. He's like, how are you so okay with this? And she's like, I'm confident in myself. If someone doesn't choose me, then that's not my person. But I'm not forcing anything. And she stood her ground, and I love that for her. She holds it together till she gets to the women's headquarters. She starts crying. She talks to Lauren, apologizes. Lauren's smiling on the inside, hugs her back. Then we get the Sarah and Ben reveal. Nothing too exciting there. Sarah breaks out into hives. Dave proposes to Lauren. Madison dumps Mason, breaks his little heart, and she's so happy at what she did. She goes back to the women's headquarters and she's letting everybody know what she just did. She's bragging about it. The episode comes to a close with Meg and Mason. He's apologizing for affirming Lauren over her. Final episode, y'all. Final episode. So Mason is still, you know, trying to talk Meg down. He's like, you've been my number one since day one. And my girl Meg was like, I'm not an idiot. I'm no one's second choice. And she broke things off with Mason. I respect that so much. I love that. I did not want to see him this season. I was so tired of just looking at him. Daniel proposes to Taylor. We do the Dave and Lauren reveal, and she's already saying she's like self-conscious because he said he dated hot people before. Girl, stand up. One of the worst things you can do is show a man that you're insecure. Like, you need to be confident. You need to be secure in yourself. It doesn't matter who he dated before. He's marrying you now. So you need to own that, and you need to be confident. Okay? That's my message to you, Lauren. All right, so we made it to the end of the episode, and this is one of the big shocks. Alex breaks things off with Madison. Yeah, I actually didn't see that coming. It seems like he's siding with Mason a little bit. I don't know, bringing up communication issues. To me, it sounds like he's making excuses, but maybe that could be there were some things that were shown behind the scenes that we didn't see. But whatever it is something he does not like, and he is not moving forward with her to marry her. So I definitely want to find out a little more about that, but that just came out of nowhere to me. I really thought that he was going to propose. We have the Devin and Virginia reveal, and she's still being shy. Again, nothing too drastic happening here. We have the Taylor and Daniel reveal. She's like, he's a little shorter than I'm used to. I can tell he's not her type immediately. I can tell. Okay, so after this, we are hit with a 24 hours later screen. Taylor's crying, saying Daniel seems familiar. Apparently, he sent her an Instagram request where he was in a picture in front of a Christmas tree or something. He had a drink in his hand. They show her confronting him, and he denies it. And he's like, well, I do have a picture, but it's in front of a fireplace, not a tree. And also, I don't have a drink in my hand. That's how you know somebody's lying, when they start nitpicking the little moments. So we made it to the end. Overall, not jam-packed with drama like we've seen. Even the trailer they showed at the end for the rest of the season wasn't even spicy. And you know they can edit those things to make those look spicy. And if they edit it and that's the best that they had, and they couldn't even make that look more spicy, then there's no spice. And if there's no spice, it's like, people are going to think it's boring. So maybe they're just not showing us everything. Maybe it's going to pick up a little bit in future episodes. I do want to share a few of my cons. One of my cons, not too much diversity this season. And I don't like that. They need to do better with that. Also don't like that they don't show the other dates. I still want to see some of the other dates, even if they don't get engaged. Like, I was really excited to see a 42-year-old. I was so excited to see her dates. That's fine if she didn't make it out, but y'all could still show that. And so them zooming in on these 4 people, I'm talking to you, Dave, Mason, Madison, Molly, Meg, like those 4 or 5 people, that's all we saw the whole time from episode 1. But yes, who are your favorite couples? Who do you think would get married? I don't really have anybody that sticks out that I'm like rooting for. Like, no one will ever compare to Cam and Lauren. But that's it for now, y'all. We went through episodes 1 through 6. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and hit the notified bell so you are notified every time I post. I will be making another video for the rest of the episodes. So all my Love is Blind fans, come on the journey with me. Thanks again for watching another episode of Screen Diaries. My name is Kamara. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.